Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Breakup Brad, and we're about to talk breakups here in this video. That is, after all, what I do. I help people like you get a second chance with their ex. Now guys, sit tight because I'm about to tell you about 3 text messages that you're likely going to receive from your ex at some point in the near future if they haven't already sent you them. Now, how do I know this? It's not because I'm psychic, even though that would be really useful. But no, I'm not psychic. I know that your ex is going to send you one of these texts because, I've spent the last 10 years of my life coaching thousands of clients, helping them to win back their ex or get through a rough breakup. And on a daily basis, I'll have at least a few of my coaching clients tell me, Brad, my ex sent me this text today. What should I do? Well, guess what? Most of the time, they're referring to some iteration of these 3 texts that I'm going to talk about in this video. In fact, I suspect if I were to look at my inbox right now, there's probably going to be a handful of emails in there that mention one of these common texts, at least one. So yeah, that's how I know that you're likely going to receive at least one of these texts from your ex if you haven't already. And of course, in this video, I'm going to explain how to reply to each of these texts when you do receive them so that you'll be prepared and know how to handle things in a way that's going to maximize your chances of getting your ex back. Okay, common text message number 1 is what I call the validation-seeking trap text message. And basically, this is any kind of text message where your ex is asking things like, why are you acting weird? Or why are you ignoring me? Or even, so are we never ever going to talk anymore or what? Something along those lines. Now, first of all, if you've already started applying my no contact rule, then there's a good chance that you've already got a message like this from your ex. If not, don't panic. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong or you've got no chance of ever getting your ex back. But if you have got a text like this, then that's an excellent sign that no contact is having the intended effect. And even if you're not currently in a period of no contact, and your ex sends you something like this, it's usually a relatively positive indication, that they're missing you, at least to some degree. Now, unfortunately, I can't give you a single one-size-fits-all way to handle this type of message from your ex. But what I can do is give you some sort of general advice and a few different tips, depending on your specific situation. Now, first of all, did you notice how I used the word trap to describe this message? Well, that's because, it is somewhat of a trap. Even though that may not really be your ex's intention, at least not on a conscious level. But it is a potential trap because it can easily lead you into getting drawn into a conversation or to respond in a way that's going to reveal your true emotions, expose your underlying motivations, and very possibly do a lot of damage to your chances of getting him or her back. So guys, please don't fall for this trap. Recognize this message for what it is when you do receive it, and do not, I repeat, do not respond immediately, regardless of how badly you may want to. It doesn't matter, if you feel terrible for ignoring your ex and you're desperate to respond to tell them, no, I'm still here, I'm sorry. It's extremely unlikely that waiting, 6 or 8 hours before responding is going to have any kind of real negative repercussions. So please do not respond to this kind of message immediately. Take at least a few hours to clear your head and make a well thought out decision as to how you're going to respond. Now, unfortunately, this is one of those times where I really can't give you an exact, one sentence or one message to use in response to this kind of text. That's because I don't really know your ex personally, and I don't know all the details of your breakup. So, if you want advice that is tailored to your specific situation, you're going to have to sign up for my one-on-one coaching program at breakupbrad.com/coaching. Or keep watching, and I'm going to give you 2 tips to handle this kind of text as well. First tip, the ideal response from a general perspective would usually be to simply ignore this message altogether. Now, I know that does sound harsh, and in some cases, it might actually do more damage than good. But really, if you can safely ignore this type of message completely, then that's going to send the strongest message and really get your ex wondering why you suddenly won't respond to them anymore. And that, believe it or not, is exactly what you want, especially during the early stages when you haven't really started to rebuild attraction or allowed your ex to let go of some of the negative memories and feelings that they are harboring towards you. Now, unfortunately, sometimes not responding at all can also be dangerous, because it might cause unnecessary conflict or it might make your ex, downright angry. So if you are worried that your ex is going to take a total lack of reply to this kind of message personally and be offended or genuinely angry about it, then you can send them, a brief reply after 6 or 8 hours to make the issue sort of go away, without falling victim to your ex's trap. And, the best thing to say in response is pretty simple, just say something like, sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. I've just been really super busy lately, and I need a bit of space to get over the breakup. Now, you don't need to go into any more detail than that, all right? And I know I started with the word sorry in my example there, but I'm Canadian, it's my nature. But really, you don't really want to be overly apologetic. I mean, what's wrong with taking some time to yourself? Why does your ex have a right to a reply if they're no longer your significant other? So yeah, don't go over the top with any apologies, and definitely don't feel guilty. Once you've explained things, with a super quick reply message like the one I just talked about, you can safely go back to no contact after that and just ignore any further responses from your ex. And if you're not in no contact when you get this message, then my advice is going to usually be more or less the same. But if you're facing some kind of weird circumstances, please do sign up for my one-on-one coaching, and then I'll be able to take some time to learn about your situation and give you some more personalized advice on how to handle things. All right, guys, and let's move on to another common text message that you're likely to receive from your ex at some point. Yes, the pointless text, or as I call it, the check-in text. Now, I bet a lot of you have already probably received something like this from your ex already. Maybe it just said, hey, hi, sup, hey, what's new, that kind of question. But really, I consider any meaningless text like these, where your ex is just asking something really generic, like, what are you up to, or that kind of thing. Those are check-in texts. And how do you reply to that kind of message? Well, actually, for this type of message, it's a lot easier for me to give you some clear advice. And that is basically if you're currently employing no contact, if it's only been a week or two since the breakup, or if you've spoken to your ex, fairly recently, if any of those things describe your situation, then don't respond. Just don't bother to respond at all. There really isn't any need, and it's almost always going to do more harm than good if you do respond. So just ignore that kind of message altogether, and that's probably going to be the best way for 90% of you watching this to deal with that sort of check-in text. Now, when might you actually want to reply to this kind of message? Well, for one, when you've been trying to talk with your ex for some time already, but you haven't had much luck. So for instance, maybe you've employed no contact, but you haven't really been able to reestablish any kind of communication with your ex since then. That's the kind of rare situation where, if you've followed my advice up to that point, in that kind of scenario, you will want to respond and you'll want to take advantage of your ex reaching out. Now, of course, don't be too eager. Always wait a while before responding, no matter what. And really keep any responses really brief, simple, and positive. If you can, just make your ex laugh when he or she reads your response. Now, otherwise, quite frankly, there's not really any other good reason to reply to this message at all. Now, of course, make sure that the text your ex is sending you is actually a pointless text, of course. If it's not pointless, if your ex asks you something specific, like, are you going to pay the phone bill this month? Or, what time are we meeting again tonight? Those things aren't pointless, and although they might not always deserve a response either, but if you do get any kinds of texts, things saying, hey, what's up? That is absolutely a pointless text for sure, and it absolutely does not justify a reply or response at all. Okay, guys, and on to the final text. I don't really know what to call this kind of text, to be honest. So maybe some of you guys can come up with a clever name for it and let me know in the comments. But basically, this is the kind of text message where your ex is saying things like, I miss you, or I wish you were here, or I still think about you all the time. Anything like that, it would qualify. And if your ex does send you a text and your heart skips a beat when you read it, and I mean, skips a beat with excitement, then that's a damn good sign that you've just received one of these, let's call them temptation texts. Now, look, I won't lie, this kind of message can be really cruel because, you're going to want to respond. It's just going to happen. And in fact, I can actually guarantee you that most of you watching this video have already received this kind of message from your ex, and you probably did exactly that. You got excited, you saw a glimmer of hope, and you took the bait. Now, don't beat yourself up if that is the case. That's exactly what every person in your shoes probably would do, if they hadn't been told otherwise. So in fact, I'm not going to get into a full story here, but I do actually remember a long, long time ago, before I actually got into this business and knew better, I did exactly the same thing after being dumped. I received a note from my ex, who I was still very much in love with, and it said something like, I still love you and I really miss you. And of course, being the naive young lad that I was, I immediately took it as a cue to pour out my heart to her and just, tell her how I felt. Basically just made myself look like a complete emotional wreck.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
It was stupid, and it definitely did not help me get her back. So guys, please do not make the same mistake. And as I'm going to explain in a second, it's not always wise to ignore this kind of message from your ex. but do not allow yourself to just give in to temptation and gush about how much you miss your ex, how much you still love them, that kind of thing. That is never going to be a good idea, at least not until you're already truly officially back together with them. So here's a really rough guide to handling these kinds of temptation texts anytime you receive one from your ex. If you're still employing no contact, don't respond. Just, feel warm inside knowing that your ex still has those feelings for you, but don't get too excited, and definitely do not respond if you're still in the no contact phase. Not responding is actually going to send a really powerful message to your ex anyway. It's basic human psychology to want what you can't have, and not responding at all is a ridiculously effective way to sort of shock your ex into recognizing what they've lost. So trust me, guys, if you don't respond, you're actually going to do yourself a lot of good, and it's going to help your cause. All right, and what about if you're not employing no contact? Well, hopefully that means you've already finished the full 30 days, or you've at least signed up for my X Factor program, and you know about the specific scenarios that I described in the program where you don't need to use no contact. But anyway, if you do receive this kind of message from your ex and you're well past no contact, then you can usually safely reply after waiting a few hours. No matter what, though, you should never just jump right into a love fest and start showering your ex with emotional, romantic stuff. Never say, for instance, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. I've been missing you so badly, and I just can't take it anymore. I love you so much." That is way too much. And in fact, if you do respond, it should be because you wanted to use this to set up further contact and to sort of set the stage for flirting, rebuilding attraction, and meeting in person. So, for instance, a good response might be something like, "Yeah, I've been missing you too lately, but the breakup has actually motivated me to make some changes to my life, which has been great. I'm about to head out with some friends right now, but I'll talk to you again soon and we can catch up then." All right, that's actually pretty long. So you could just say, "Yeah, I miss you too. Breakups suck. Hope you're doing well." Something like that. Now, if you have made a lot of progress and you've already been able to meet your ex in person and begin flirting, and things are going really well, then you can use this as a chance to sort of drop a sexual reference, an innuendo, for instance. So you could say, "I miss you too. And I also miss your special talents too, if you know what I mean." Winky emoji kind of thing. Now, of course, those last messages I just covered there, those responses are definitely going to be more risky tactics if you don't use them at the right time, or if you haven't properly set the stage. So for that reason, and I know you're absolutely sick of me saying this, but it is absolutely true in this case, please think about grabbing a copy of my best-selling program, The X Factor Guide, so that you have a clear plan of attack, and and you understand when it's safe and effective to send this kind of text to your ex. Of course, The X Factor is my comprehensive guide to getting your ex back, and it has helped over 100,000 people in 131 countries get their ex back, and you can sign up for your copy at breakupbrad.com. Now, if for some reason you don't want to take advantage of my risk-free money-back guarantee that I offer with the program, and you don't want to access immediately, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, because I do guarantee your success or money back. But in that case, if you don't want to grab a copy of the program, then my general advice in terms of handling text messages from your ex is, just better safe than sorry. So just don't respond at all if you're not sure how to handle a message from your ex, because 99% of the time, that's going to be safer than if you try to reply and you get it wrong. But, of course, having watched this video now, I hope that you'll be feeling more confident and that you'll be able to use these kinds of text messages from your ex, which you are going to likely receive from them at some point in the near future. You can use those to your advantage. So, remember to take a step back before you respond to any messages from your ex. Make sure you stay rational and you stick to the game plan. And of course, make sure you sign up for my one-on-one coaching if you need personalized advice to handle, an unusual scenario or situation. Either way, I'll be rooting for you guys. Of course, as always, leave your questions and your suggestions and your marriage proposals in the comments below the video here. I look forward to reading them all soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.